I found him crawling through the mud like a worm, clutching a briefcase full of money as if those dead presidents could breathe life back into his punctured lungs. Silas Thorne, the man whose signature moved billions across continents with a single stroke, now reduced to bleeding meat, dragging himself through my jungle, leaving a trail that even a blind jaguar could follow. Before the spirits claim what's left of this tale, tap that button and follow my path. The forest keeps many secrets, but only those who walk with me will hear them whispered. His helicopter, a metallic dragonfly worth more than my entire village, now just twisted wreckage smoking against the canopy. The stench of burning fuel mixed with orchid pollen. The jungle always reclaims what doesn't belong. He saw me emerge from the shadows, and his eyes, oh, those eyes that had stared down boardrooms and broken competitors, they lit up with desperate hope. "Help me," he gasped, blood bubbling at the corner of his mouth. "I'll pay you, anything, everything." He fumbled with the briefcase. The latches clicked open, stacks of $100 bills, crisp and green, organized in perfect rows. His trembling fingers offered them to me like a priest offering communion. I laughed. Not a cruel laugh, but the laugh of a man watching a child try to trade seashells for the ocean. I took one bill. Benjamin Franklin's face stared back at me, that smug expression of enlightenment. I held it up to the fading light filtering through the canopy, then crumpled it slowly, deliberately, as Silas watched in horror. "No, no, please!" I built a small fire of sacred herbs, copaiba leaves, tobacco from my grandfather's garden, ayahuasca bark. The flames grew hungry, and I fed Benjamin Franklin to them. The bill curled and blackened. The ink released toxic smoke. It couldn't even boil water for medicinal tea. "Your wealth," I said, watching his face collapse like a mudslide, "is paper that suffocates fire. In my world, it has less value than the leaf I wipe my ass with. At least that leaf fertilizes the soil." That's when we heard them, the distant thrum of rotor blades, not rescue, but something darker. Silas's face went from pale to translucent. They found me. Who? My partners, Craven and Delacroix. They restructured the fund without me, leveraged my equity positions. They need me dead to liquidate my shares without triggering the succession clause. Even in terror, he spoke in the language of his world: equity, liquidate, succession, words that meant nothing to the anaconda coiled in the river or the harpy eagle circling above. The helicopters were equipped with thermal imaging, military grade. I could see the infrared scanners sweeping the canopy in geometric patterns. They were hunting heat signatures, the glow of warm blood against cold jungle. "Strip," I commanded. "What?" "Your suit, that silk prison, remove it." His Armani jacket, his Hermes tie, his Italian leather shoes worth more than a year's harvest, all of it peeled away like snakeskin. Underneath, he was just pale flesh, soft from decades of air-conditioned offices and catered lunches. I led him to a pool of black mud, thick as tar, cold as death, the kind of mud that forms in the deepest shadows where sunlight has never touched. "Get in." "I can't. I won't." "Then burn bright for their cameras and die screaming." He lowered himself into the mud. It swallowed him slowly, obscenely. I added handfuls of crushed leaves, plants that release oils to mask body heat, the secretions of the sapo frog, tree sap mixed with charcoal dust. I painted him, covered every inch of his corporate flesh with the armor of anonymity. He gagged at the smell, rotting vegetation mixed with mineral earth and amphibian poison. Above us, the helicopters descended. The downwash from their blades scattered leaves like paper money in a storm. Searchlights carved through the darkness. We didn't move. We became stone, became mud, became jungle. I watched their thermal cameras sweep over us, twice, 3 times. On their screens, we were just cool earth, background temperature, nothing worth a bullet. They moved on, their lights stabbing uselessly into the infinite green. But Silas was shaking, not from cold, but from something breaking inside. I recognized the symptoms. Ego death. The moment when a man realizes that everything he built, every tower, every portfolio, every masterpiece of financial engineering is just architecture drawn in sand before the tide. We moved deeper into the jungle, to the river that runs without name through territories no map has claimed. "Wash," I told him. He knelt at the river's edge, still clutching that briefcase. His knuckles were white around the handle, the last anchor to his identity. The river ran black under the moonlight, not dirty, but dark with tannins, with the blood of 1,000 trees releasing their essence into the current. He splashed water on his face, and that's when the hallucinations began. The ayahuasca oils I'd mixed into the mud, they were seeping through his pores, entering his bloodstream, crossing the blood-brain barrier like corporate raiders hostile takeovering his consciousness. He saw the bills in his briefcase transform. Each $100 note sprouted legs, thin, wriggling appendages. They became leeches, fat with greed, crawling up his arms, seeking his veins. "Get them off! Get them off!" He threw the briefcase into the river. The current took it eagerly. Bills exploded from the burst latches like startled birds, floating downstream, disintegrating in the acidic water. $3 million, becoming fish food and fungus fertilizer. Silas collapsed on the bank, sobbing. Not the quiet tears of a man mourning loss, but the raw, choking sobs of an infant realizing for the first time that he is separate from the universe and utterly cosmically alone. I let him cry. The jungle doesn't judge tears. It drinks them like rain. When his sobs finally subsided into hiccups and gasps, I spoke. "In your world, you were a god. You moved markets. You created and destroyed fortunes with your decisions. Men feared you. Women desired you. Governments courted your favor." He nodded weakly. "Here, you are meat. You are calories walking on 2 legs. The Jaguar doesn't care about your Moody's rating. The Fer de Lance doesn't check your credit score before it strikes. Your billions are smoke. Your power is memory. Your empire is a dream you're waking up from." "Then what am I?" he whispered. "Right now, nothing. You have died to that world. To survive in this one, you must be reborn." I took him to the cave, the sacred hollow my ancestors have protected for generations. The walls are covered with handprints, red ochre mixed with blood and tree resin, the signatures of men who came to the jungle to die and emerged as something else. Outside, the helicopters returned, voices on megaphones, offers of reward for information, threats of consequences for harboring fugitives. The mercenaries passed directly over our cave. Their boots crunched on the limestone above our heads, but they didn't see the entrance, camouflaged behind a waterfall that exists only during certain moon phases when the underground river swells. We waited 3 days. Silas ate what I gave him, drank what I offered, spoke only when I asked questions. The arrogance was burned out of him like fever. On the 3rd night, the helicopters left for the last time. The jungle exhaled. The nocturnal symphony resumed, howler monkeys and night birds and insects singing their ancient songs. I led Silas to the river once finally. "Wash," I said. "Wash away the man you were."
He submerged himself completely, stayed under until his lungs screamed, emerged gasping, reborn in the amniotic waters of the forest. His briefcase floated past us, waterlogged, empty, spinning slowly in an eddy. He watched it disappear around the riverbend and didn't even reach for it. "What do I do now?" he asked. "You walk downstream until you reach the village of San Miguel. You tell them you are João, a Brazilian merchant who lost everything in a flood. You work with your hands, you earn your food, you become small enough that the world forgets to hunt you. And my empire, my holdings, my legacy?" I smiled. "Already being divided by men who will meet the same end you almost did. The wheel turns, the snake eats its tail, the forest stands eternal while your towers crumble into dust." That Silas stood there, naked except for the mud still caked in his hair, and nodded slowly.